What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Toffee Blues, the home of all things Everton. Obviously, as you notice, it's only me today. Basically, just thought I'd give you a quick rundown on the Millwall game. I was there, so basically this is a reaction, but just on my perspective. But it's also hoping to get you guys involved and really start, get a bit of a discussion in the comments going with it. But I think we'll just jump in straight away like Jerry would with the main points. And obviously you've got to look at it straight away. Normally we'd be asking, is it an atmosphere that was so reputable for Millwall fans? I have to say, I think it was. The Scousers were at each other all game, the Cockneys were at each other all game. There was definitely a real rivalry between the fans. And I have to say, I think the Millwall players were spurred on by it. I think it scared ours a little bit. Get that bit more of a vibe going for the ground, make it a bit more scary. And to be honest, that is the kind of thing we should be aiming for at Goodison. We should be aiming to be the real nasty sods that are going to really scare every team that's coming to us. That is sort of like what we should be following in terms of like how the atmosphere builds up in the ground itself. And fair play to Millwall fans, they built it up pretty scarily for me anyway. But then we've got to look at the game itself. Forget about the atmosphere, forget about what the managers and that are. Look at it from the game itself. I personally think neither team deserved to win it in the end, because Millwall didn't play that well. They're 19th in the Championship for a reason. They just didn't form like a masterclass team that deserved the score, I thought, but they still deserved the win that little bit more than Everton. And Everton fans and the team itself they just weren't there for that game. They performed so well in previous games that you'd think they're going to turn up for this game. It's the FA Cup. It's probably a game that's going to save a lot of the team and Silver. You'd think they're going to turn up and try and at least get the game. So then we break it down. Look at it as each goal in turn. First goal, Richarlison's pretty decent attacking play in the build-up to it. Richarlison grabs the ball, coming in from the left, which I think was his best position on the night. Obviously it works well for him. He's not having to fight off the attackers. He can pick up the ball on the left-hand side and bring it in. Good strike, reasonable strike. Really lucky with getting under the goalkeeper, but that's what it's like playing in a wet terrain with a pretty naff surface, I'm completely honest. But yeah, it was a decent little finish. Got a bit of a look to it, but it worked out pretty well. Then, of course, about 3 minutes later, they scored their equaliser, and tactically just weren't right with it. I mean, the way we'd set up with being so deep so that they could just easily ping the ball over. They win the ball, headers it over, and then Digne against one of the tallest centre-backs and strikers is trying to win that ball when no one else is going there for it. Of course, it's going to end up in the back of the net. It was a good header, to be fair as well. It was a very good header to try and get it over Pickford into the far corner. 1-1 going into half-time. You'd think maybe we can get something out of it, but we need to up the effort. So we're going into the second half. Tosun comes on. Fair play to Tosun. Obviously he's had his stick over the last few weeks getting linked with transfer rumours in that way. He finishes the chance he's got really well. Sigurdsson, nice flick on as well so that he can get Tosun away. Tosun then just pulls off every defender and finishes it in the far post. Really lovely. You'd think, yeah, 2-1. We're going to win this. We're going to actually try and progress into the next round. Oh, no. Yeah. Everton there. Just saying, actually, Digne, let's give away a stupid foul so then they can get back in it. And they did. So it was a controversial one, to say the least. Controversial, and we'll get onto that in a minute. Then the third goal. Stupid foul right at the end by Digne, and you'd think, I mean, every fan in the stadium, even the Millwall, even the Everton fans, they knew it was going in. Ball goes into the box, literally 3 people, 3 Millwall players, unmarked, and it's an easy tap-in, and they win the game. And unfortunately, it's come to be expected really for a lot of Everton fans. We just seem to be able to pluck out these results of just complete cup scares. And that's it. Season over. in January. Now for me as well, with the goals that we conceded obviously all being from set pieces, that's got to scream out something at the tactics, and that is a problem that we've had all season. Not only has it cost us, you know, this cup game and any chance of the FA Cup at all that we could have genuinely gone for this season, it's also cost us a lot of points throughout the season just from defending from set pieces. Whether that's down to the players, which it can be, you know, they need to improve on what they're doing, that's completely obvious, but Silva with his zonal marking, it clearly does not work. However, he needs to learn that and learn it quick, because obviously fans are getting a bit of unrest for him, and are the players getting a bit of unrest for him? I don't know, but it is just one of those. Unfortunately, you've got to look at the tactics of the manager when it comes to those 3 goals. But then you can also look at it with the players just being completely unaware and just not concentrating. You know, Silva can't tactically infuse concentration. Players have to concentrate. So I'd say both parties are to blame. You know, stupid fouls, but also bad tactics. And also, I hadn't realised this beforehand, but Millwall had scored 9 of their goals from set pieces, which was a lot of their goal contribution. So surely that must have been a tactic that they must have tried to, or they should have at least been thinking of. Don't be giving away stupid fouls, because they will probably score from them. Now, we move on to the pretty interesting topic. Millwall's second goal. Obviously, you could argue that it was offside. You could argue another goal of theirs should have been offside. But obviously the controversial, very, very controversial bit was the handball. And it doesn't even matter if it was ball to hand, because you can clearly see the arm going in and trying to, well, just go forward and hit the ball. So it is a clear, purposeful handball that should not have been allowed. Now, why wasn't VAR involved? It's like it was seen on the replay, you saw, and you'll have heard from the crowds and that in the game, the fans knew it, managers knew it, players knew it. I mean, some of our players even got booked by the referee for trying to tell him that look at the screen for, you know, this goal, that it shouldn't be allowed, and then they get booked for saying it. It's like, it points out the pathetic refereeing by Oliver, the referee, and what was he thinking? Even the assistant thought that it was fine, but and I don't understand why they can't have rescinded it, but it's one of those, unfortunately. And then you have to look at it, why wasn't VAR involved? Now, video advanced refereeing has only been involved, and apparently it should be involved from the FA Cup from the 3rd round onwards. Obviously you can't go previous rounds, but from the 3rd round onwards, VAR should be used in games, which it's supposed to be. However, it's only accessible at 20 games. That's all Premier League grounds, apparently, is where it's only accessible at. What is the point then in having it in the competition? There's no point in having VAR in the competition, because if you think about it, that goal that scored at Goodison gets ruled out. At Millwall, can't be done about it. However, the most confusing thing I find with it is that there's actual, on the TV replay, you have one of the cameras that proves it's a handball. You've got all the different angles. You've also got, bearing in mind this, there's a camera inside the goal. There's like a GoPro inside the goal recording the footage of the man putting his arm towards the ball. So there must be at least enough cameras to be able to cover for VAR. Why is it not being used? Blackburn got screwed over in the game with VAR. They should have had VAR against Newcastle, but it was at Ewood Park. So apparently VAR isn't accessible. What is the point then? What's the point in having the VAR in the competition if it's not going to be used and accessible at every single game? You may as well just say, let's just not have a referee for this game. That's what it's like. You know, you're turning up to a game where VAR is accessible at your place, so that makes it a bit more fair maybe. However, the other place, it's all just disregarded, and you can't. It's like a boxer going in, one boxer going into a fight with no gloves, and the other's getting all the gloves he needs. It makes completely utter rubbish how. Yeah, and it's not the first time we've been screwed over with VAR this season, but it's also not the first time that VAR could have worked against us. But it's something that needs to be done. desperately and soon. I feel like as well, if you don't have VAR equipped in your stadium, you shouldn't be allowed in the FA Cup. I'm sorry, that's what I think. And if obviously if you manage to get through to the second round, maybe they could just put in some temporary stuff. At least temporary cameras, temporary system. That makes it at least fair for both sides. But anyway, that's sort of my rant on it. I just don't understand why VAR isn't at the likes of Millwall's grounds, the Championship grounds. You know, they've got Sky showing the grounds, showing the games. That must mean there's got to be enough cameras there. Anyway, next and final point is Silva. In or out? Obviously, I'm going to give it my view a little bit. It's tricky because before this game, I was Silva in. I was saying give him time, be patient with him. Because you think about it, that team that played last night was playing against Liverpool, where we actually matched them peg for peg. And obviously, as soon as that goal happens in the derby, it's ruined our confidence. So you'd think, nah, maybe he can bounce back with the team. Maybe they can just sort of come back up and just rear themselves and put the character and think, yeah, we can get something going. Maybe Silva can do that with them. However, his naivety and his arrogance in his tactics is costing him a lot of points for the team. He's not able to manage them well enough, I think, in terms of being able to get them reared and going for the game and concentrating. But yeah, now I'm on the fence. Because you should really, if you're in that position, you need to be looking at the tactics, looking at what's best for the game, looking at what is best for your team if you're taking the cup competition seriously. Because now that means our season is over in January, and unfortunately, if he doesn't change his ways, he's losing the support, or what support he has remaining. He will be gone pretty soon. You know, he's just got to pay attention to what he's doing and just learn from the mistakes of every previous manager. Change the formation, change the tactics, learn to defend at set pieces, and we'll be okay. However, is he going to be around long enough to be able to do that? I don't know. A lot of fans are calling for his head now. I can sort of understand obviously their position. You know, it's everyone's opinion. I can understand obviously people saying he should be in because, you know, the likes of, say, Alex Ferguson, you know, he needed time. His first season he finished 11th, didn't get anywhere in the FA Cup or the League Cup, and then look what happened with them. Unfortunately, a lot of fans now, maybe myself included, are getting a bit tired of patience. We want results now. But that's my opinion. That's sort of, I guess, the review of the Millwall game for the Cup. No other sections tonight, but we have got Huddersfield away next. Hopefully we go into that game really looking for a win, because if not, there's going to be a lot of grief given. But if you've enjoyed this anyway, please leave a like, leave your comments down below. What did you guys think of the game? What do you think are the main points to look at from Millwall? Get it all down in the comment section below. Let's get a bit of a discussion going for this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the Toffee Blues as well. If you can also check out my channel, Jam E James, should be in the description. If you would please, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.